What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Mill. J Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're at 74 subscribers. When we get to 100, we'll definitely give something else away. But like I said, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. So let's get into it. So today I want to take a look at the wide receivers. I apologize for my voice. It's been sounding really crazy here the last few days. I don't know what that's about, but bear with me. So the Cowboys are going into training camp here, less than 2 weeks. And honestly, on this active 90-man roster, they actually have quite a few numbers at the wide receiver position. So just kind of looking at some of the back end guys, Kelvin Harmon, Trayshawn Holden, Josh Kelly. I don't know if any of those guys actually has a realistic chance at making the roster. The reason I say that is because if you just look at the top 4 to 5 names that the Cowboys have, these guys here are going to have an uphill climb to make the roster. Somebody like Holden, might have a chance to make the practice squad here. Also, in the next pair, the next group, you got Jalen Moreno-Cropper, Paris Campbell. Those guys also probably have a chance to make the practice squad. Maybe so Jalen Moreno-Cropper than Paris Campbell, only because they've been working on Cropper for a few years now. So they probably feel like, hey, we know this guy. We know he knows our system. He knows our quarterback. If we're in a pinch and we're down 2 or 3 receivers, like we just get hit with a crazy injury bug, he might be able to come in and get us through a game without necessarily killing us. So that's the guy I think has the chance. But those are my practice squad candidates. So now, first person I want to take a look on the back end is Jalen Brooks. Jalen Brooks has made this team the last couple years, but again, I think it's an uphill battle. He definitely will be, I think, if he doesn't get claimed, will make it to the practice squad. If he goes through, I think they would keep him. But I do think Jalen Brooks is going to have an uphill climb. Same thing with Ryan Flournoy. I like Ryan Flournoy a little bit more than I like Jalen Brooks because Ryan Flournoy has a little bit of size, a little bit of athleticism, some decent speed, but he's probably still in that developmental phase as well. But I do think Flournoy, out of the guys we're talking about, has probably the best chance to be claimed by a team if the Cowboys were to cut him. It will probably be hard to get him through and have another team not necessarily claim him, especially with this draft not having the greatest receiver talent that previous drafts have had. This guy's been in for a couple of years. He is a 6'3" guy, so he's got some size. He's a burner. He's not as fast as Jadon Blue or anything, but at his size, he runs like a 4.4, high 4.3. So I mean, he's not the fastest guy in the league, but he is a fast guy. So I do think there would be a chance that he would get snatched up if the Cowboys tried to work him through waivers. So the next one I want to talk about is Jonathan Mingo. So Jonathan Mingo is, in my opinion, in a direct battle with Jalen Tolbert for the wide receiver 3. I do think that battle will last way past camp. So I don't think anything is set in stone, right? So if Jalen Tolbert wins this battle in training camp, but then throughout the course of the season, Jonathan Mingo starts to prove himself a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mingo, kind of transition that role. Same thing if it goes the other way. If Mingo beats out Tolbert, that's not for the whole season, because as the season goes on, Tolbert might show something and be able to get Mingo, to get his snaps reduced in favor of putting Jalen Tolbert out there. So I think this situation is kind of fluid, but I do think both of these guys make the team, which helps us. I guess that gives us a strong receiving core in the practice squad. So another guy, let's take a look. We're getting further to the front now. Kevontae Turpin. I put Kevontae Turpin over Jalen Brooks and over Jonathan Mingo only because I do think, A, he provides something special in a return game, but B, he has some untapped potential as an actual receiver. You can put him on the field and move him all around and have him as a chess piece in the backfield, out of the slot, even play him in the X a little bit, depending on the type of routes you're going to have him run. And excuse me, and I do expect Schottenheimer to try to get him the ball more so on the move, as opposed to what Mike McCarthy was doing, which was saying, "Hey, this guy's fast. Let's just make him run deep." He can run by someone, but if the ball's not there out in front where he doesn't have to break stride and he has to all of a sudden come back to a ball, and now it's a contested jump ball, I don't want KaVontae Turpin doing that on a consistent basis. He can surprise you sometimes. Okay, that's fine. For the most part, I would like to see KaVontae Turpin on like deep end cuts, what I'm saying, crossing routes, things getting him running away from defenders, and then you can hit him on the move, especially if you set up the routes with some of the other receivers on the roster that we're about to get to, and you can have KaVontae Turpin on the move on some of those routes, and I think he'll be very, very dangerous because now he's getting hit in stride and he can make people miss, and he can use his speed to run away from people in the open field with the ball in his hand. And so I look for actually a decent year from Turpin. They paid him more money, which means they're going to get him more looks. So it'll be interesting just to see what that looks like. So then we have George Pickens and, of course, CeeDee Lamb. I paired them up because that's what it's going to be to me, the complementary game of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, it looks amazing on paper, and I actually think for once this position group is actually going to be able to perform. Again, just like we did our offensive line position group, this position group, to me, could also challenge for one of the better position groups on the team. Still, we haven't gotten to who I think might, also be able to challenge. Newsflash, when I get to the defensive line, that's probably going to be the other group that I think can challenge. But I do think knocking Jalen Tolbert down to 3, maybe 4, knocking Mago down to 3, maybe 4, having a more specialized role, but a more useful role for KaVontae Turpin, and then having CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens on the outside. I mean, we know CeeDee Lamb is a monster. He's proven in this league. He can run away from you. He can catch you. He can go line up on all over the field. He can run any type of route you want him to run. So that's a valuable chess piece. And then you added George Pickens, who has that good contested catch, but also has the ability to pull away from the defender as well. And he actually is a little bit faster than CeeDee Lamb. So he adds another element, him, KaVontae Turpin, CeeDee Lamb. You start getting, anything from your running backs, Jadon Blue, some of that speed attacking you. And defenses are definitely going to be on their heels. The Cowboys do definitely have more of an attacking type receiving core with the addition of George Pickens and what that does for everybody else. Like I said, especially knowing that you have an all-pro there in CeeDee Lamb, that's pretty much the ultimate chess piece. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me at Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's at JMillerIYL. You can hit me up on knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can submit questions via the chat below, anything specific that you want me to cover, or just any comments that you want to make. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your host, J Miller, if you like. Until next time, this has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.